Hey there, it's Jared Hamilton with the Hamilton Group at Cherry Creek Mortgage. Welcome to another edition of Java with Jared. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you had a very wonderful week. Well, the markets didn't have a wonderful week. Both stocks and bonds and mortgage-backed securities really got hammered this week. Normally that doesn't happen. Normally when stocks do really well, mortgage-backed securities do bad, or if stocks do really poorly, mortgage-backed securities do really well. Usually there's an inverse relationship. Well, this week, both got hammered, and again, that does not normally happen, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But we had a lot of economic data that was released. On Tuesday, we saw retail sales released, and that was a fairly strong number. Expectations were for an increase of 0.3%, excluding autos. Actually, it showed an increase of 0.5%, so a little bit stronger than expected. If you include autos, it only increased 0.1%, so auto sales suffered a little bit. We saw the Producer Price Index, which measures inflation at the wholesale level. That showed, the overall rate showed 0. It was very, very, very tame. The core rate showed an increase of 0.1%, which is still real tame and in line with expectations. The inflation is measured also at the consumer level, and that's done by the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index showed only an increase of 0.2%, both on the core and the overall rate. So, looking at the Producer Price Index and the Consumer Price Index, it shows that there is zero inflation, relatively speaking. It's very under control. Normally, inflation is interest rates' arch enemy, so to show that there is no inflation, that would usually be pretty good for mortgage-backed securities and interest rates. It didn't translate this week. So really no help there, even though the numbers were pretty good. We saw housing starts and building permits also come in. Housing starts showed a pretty healthy surge, and we all know how strong that housing market is. It showed an increase of 5.7%. So again, pretty darn strong, or actually 5.9%. Total overall units was 896,000 units, so that was a little bit higher than previous month and higher than expected. We did also see building permits. That showed an increase of 2.7% for 943,000 units versus last month's 934,000. So again, continued strengthening the economy. Well, here's why both stocks and mortgage-backed securities really suffered this week, and that's all over the concern over tapering, when that's going to happen, how much, and how the markets are going to react to it. So the market's pretty skittish. All eyes are focused on the September 8th Fed meeting. That's when people believe that there's going to be some type of a plan introduced. So the markets are going to be pretty darn volatile leading up into that number and slightly after that. So I'm hoping to get a little bit of direction. Mortgage-backed securities are actually almost at the worst levels of 2013. We're approaching the level hit on July 5th, which was kind of the worst for 2013. They're still overall fantastic, but we're getting close. We're not quite there yet. So I'm, again, advising clients, lock. You're going to be better off because from a historical perspective, interest rates are fantastic, and there's a lot of volatility. The upside gain is not really worth the downside risk. So, again, I'm advising clients to take the money and run. Rates are really, really great, and be happy with it. Did you miss the levels that, the overall lows? Yeah, probably did, but that's okay. You're still going to be very, very happy in the long run. I'll keep you informed with what happens next week. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe we'll get some solidification here and maybe get back to where we were the previous week. But we will let you know. If you have any questions, as always, please give me a call. Hope you have a very wonderful weekend. If you're working this weekend, so are we. So just give us a call if there's anything that we can do. Thanks for joining me with Java with Jared. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.